Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and discoveringbands.com. And for everyone watching, if you share this video on my channel and help support the awesome bands I feature. And today, I'm here with SPANKTHENUN. How you doing today?
Hey, doing great. How you doing, Michael?
Good, good. It's great to have you back again.
It's great to be back. This channel's taken off. It's great to see all the bands you've been having on here.
Well, thank you. And looks like you've been working on a lot since last time we talked. You got a new single and record coming out soon. You want to tell us a little about that?
Yeah, that's right. We got a new album, the Bunker Tapes Volume 2, or follow-up to the one we released at this time last year, Volume 1. It's scheduled for a Halloween release, so we're going to release it around Halloween. But the first thing we're going to do is release a single. The single comes out. It's going to be out October 1st, but pre-sale is on now. You can get it pre-sale on Bandcamp. It's called Off Beatings, and we're featuring Klaus Larson from Leatherstrip on vocals. And this is a killer blistering track. And then we have 5 remixes. We have John Meerlin, who's, you always hear his stuff with Klaus Larson. So, bring those guys together, it's gold. And then we have Hostile Architect from Australia. We have Eva X. We have Rebel Empire from Brazil. And then we also have Batavia, who we did a remix for recently. And they just put out a killer release themselves. So it's a great single, kind of goes all over the map from hard pounding dance floor to EBM, pure EBM, to this industrial droning goth sounds, covers the whole map, the dark map of electro, that is.
Awesome. And how would you say Volume 2 differs from Volume 1?
So we're planning 3 volumes. We planned since the beginning, so who knows if that'll change. But so far it's stayed on track. So Volume 1 was kind of like our ode to, our tribute to like early 90s Belgium, German kind of EBM industrial music. And then Volume 2 is the next evolution of that. So it's going, it's like building off of that, where we start off with some tracks that easily could have been on Volume 1. And then we transitioned into tracks that are more EBM and then, more modern EBM sound. And then Volume 3 planned for next year is going to be the really modern kind of EBM to dark techno sound. So it's like kind of the middle of the whole progression. So I think people will, if they like the first one, they're definitely going to like this one, and it sets you up for the next album as well. Wow.
So when you originally started Bunker Tapes, you planned for a trilogy for 3 of them?
Yeah, we did. So we didn't know if that was really going to happen or not, but now we've actually got this one already done. It's already mixed and mastered, Volume 2. Volume 3 is almost completely done. So we'll be sitting on that one for a while. We already have remixes from some killer artists out there that won't come out until next year. But this one we're going to focus on for this year. So we'll put this single out that's out now that you guys can get. And then we'll have the album come out around Halloween. We got some other things we haven't announced yet that are collaboration stuff with some other artists and labels that'll come out around Halloween as well. There's some special projects for that. And then we'll have at least 1 more single, maybe 2 more singles for this album. So we have a bunch of remixers working on tracks for us. So we'll be probably putting something out every month through the end of the year for this one. We're going to be in Austin this weekend. Right now we'll be, we're going to be recording this weekend a video for Right Father, which is the first song that we've released from the album. It's not on the single, but we released Right Father a couple weeks ago on Armalite Industries released it on our Too Dark Productions compilation we did with them. And it's got some other killer tracks from like Cubanate and ChemLab and Pig and Joy Thieves and just a ton of great music on there. So if you want to hear the first one of the other tracks off the new album, Right Father, you go pick that up free. It's on Bandcamp right now on the Armalite site.
Awesome. I really like all the different bands you work with and collaborate with. It's really awesome.
Yeah, it's that's a thing that we've always wanted to do is continue to work with our favorite artists and then artists that we're discovering and finding. How it is discovering bands, Yeah. And so we like to have a balance of someone you've heard of and someone you never heard of, but they're equally as good, and sometimes even the newer artists you never heard of might blow you away more than the one you're used to hearing, So we got a lot of collaborations ahead that we're working on, a lot of things going on, and we hope that everything sees the light of day. But sometimes you never know how long it takes to get things done.
And Bunker Tapes Volume 2 fits perfect because we're still in the pandemic and places are still locked down. And even with Volume 3, you don't know how long this is going to last for.
Man. I hope it's like post-bunker by the time that one comes out. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard because, you're trying to plan, shows. We did a live show this past week in Dallas with one of our favorite bands, Circle Burn, also out of Dallas. And it's hard to get people to come out because they're not sure. They're not even sure what the rules are. Some venues have mask rules, some don't. Some have vaccination rules, some have positive test rules. So when we opened for Christian Death a couple of weeks ago, I think they required you had to show positive, a negative test or something, not a positive test. You had to show a negative test. That is what people were telling me that were trying to get in. But we were encouraged because a lot of people showed up, and that was a great show to be a part of at the last minute, to play with those guys. Those guys are great. But now we're playing at Elysium this weekend and Austin, and it's killer lineup of Witch House and then some hard industrial. And we're hoping a big crowd shows up for this, but you never know. And it's hard for the bands too, because a lot of the stuff we've been planning, for this later this year and next year keeps changing because, bands can't come over from the UK. And so we can't plan shows, or we've had to cancel things that we were planning with some UK bands. And so it's constantly kind of up in the air, but there's also opportunity comes out of that too. So we're just trying to balance it out the best way we can.
Yeah. Like I was saying right before the interview to you, I'd like to get a whole Discovering Bands Festival going, but with this whole pandemic and COVID, it's really hard to plan something big like that for the future. Yeah,
even the venues that are used to planning these things are not sure what they can and can't plan. And then, just some of the promoters, they're used to putting a lot of money into promoting, and then they have to kind of hedge their bets and realize it's a different kind of risk now that they got to take, and they may not want to put as much out there on the line for something that could get canceled or postponed, or you're not sure what the crowd is anymore either. You don't know who's going to show up and who isn't. And part of that was why this past weekend when we did Dallas, we did On Stage in Dallas live, but we also did a festival too the same day. So we did an online festival that morning, and then we played on stage that night. Totally different crowd. There's some fans that go to both, but you get a crowd in the UK and Germany in the morning when you're playing here in the US, and then you get the US crowd that's in front of you on stage here in Dallas. We were even tempted to do another online show later that night. We decided not to, but we did one the next day, another online one the next day. So we see in our future is still online and on stage, and hopefully it'll balance itself out the right way and make sense. So for right now, is your plans to maybe just stay local to the Texas area? Yeah, right now it is. We are talking to people about doing some things outside of Texas. I definitely know we would not go outside the United States. It's just it's just too unpredictable. You don't know what will happen or what will get canceled. So it's a big risk for us to put that kind of plan together. But, we are talking about doing a couple East Coast and West Coast shows before the end of the year. We were planning, 5 or 6 shows in November that just got canceled around Texas, New Orleans, and Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. And so now we're rethinking kind of what we want to do there. We're thinking about something for Halloween. So we're still thinking about what the right things are, but it's going to be a few shows here and there, maybe 1 or 2 shows a month for the rest of the year until hopefully get the next year and see something that's more consistent. It'd be awesome for a special Halloween event. Yeah, we'll probably do an online event and a stage event this time. Last year we did a big online event, had a ton of people there, and we'll probably still put that together. We are working on that right now, but it's interesting because a lot of bands, in this type of music, October and Halloween is the best time of the year to, be in a band like this and play and get the gigs. people come out more in October than any other time, but it's still unpredictable. Last year it was predictably shut down. This year it's like kind of in between, so that's even harder. It'd be easier if you just knew it was shut down, but it's not 100% shut down, and it's not shut down everywhere. So I see festivals in Florida where bands are dropping out or canceling left and right, but in Texas they're not. So it just kind of depends on where you are and what's happening, and whatever's happening now could change in a month. And it's just, and I know everyone's aware of it because they get tickets to their favorite bands and then gets canceled, but it's for the best most likely when that does happen, and then it's a matter of just us making sure we don't get sick and staying safe, and we don't want people coming out when they don't feel comfortable and all of that. So we want to make sure we're giving people the options that make sense for them, and then we get to play, so we'll keep doing it.
Awesome. Speaking of Halloween, how do you personally like to celebrate?
Playing music. So last year we put on, with Too Dark Productions, we put on Communion After Dark and Too Dark Productions, we put on like a 15-hour festival, and we had, I think we had 20 bands and like 10 DJs, something like that, or 15 or 12, whatever, it was a lot, but we had some pretty killer bands in there, and it was pretty good, and we wanted to really kind of show what you could really do online and do a really smooth production, just high quality production, and that probably is what I'll be focused on this year again. And then Halloween from now on is probably going to be trying to play shows, for Halloween. It used to be going to shows, now it's going to be playing shows.
Awesome. Have you ever heard of Dracula's Ball in Philly? Maybe you could play there sometime. It's one of the
I like it. It sounds good. Sounds good. I went to an event in New Orleans, one that Ann Rice puts on or used to put on, and it sounded something like, I think it's called the Vampire's Ball. It sounded similar to that. But I've been in ones in LA and some of those ones, and it's just, those are always fun. I love that stuff.
Yeah. Now, if people want to look you up online, get your music, find you on social media, how do they do that?
Yeah, right now go to Bandcamp, SPANKTHENUN.bandcamp.com. We got our pre-sale out right now for the new single, Offbeating, so you can pick that up. You get one track right now. And then we like to surprise you during the month of pre-sale, so other things might pop up. But follow us on Spotify for sure. Follow us on Spotify. Help us get those listener numbers up. When you listen to us on Spotify, other people hear about us. So that'd be huge. Those are the top two places I would point people at for sure.
Awesome. Speaking of the new single, can you give us a little more information about it? Like why you picked that as the lead single?
Yeah, so it's a track we actually wrote last year at the beginning of the pandemic. And we had written half of this album in March last year. So we could have put it out last year, but we had like 15 or almost 20 tracks, and we're like, that's just ridiculous. We're not going to put all those out. And then we started like just kind of like looking at kind of the different groups the tracks that fit into. And this is one of those tracks that kind of fit into that early 90s Belgium, EBM, new beat kind of style. And so we kept a couple of those aside from the first album for this one. And we had put down some vocal tracks for it. And we were never like 100% happy with the vocal tracks. And we were working with Klaus Larson again to mix and master this album. And he did the first one too, the Bunker Tapes 1. And so we wanted him to do this one too. So we were talking to him about, what do you think about some vocals for this? And I swear, like an hour later, he sent me back like written. He's like, what do you think of these vocals? And I'm like, it was perfect. It fit like the theme perfectly. We had left in some of our original vocals, so like kind of like the chorus. And so we were like, hey man, what do you put some verses in here? And he took that verse and man, he ran with it. It's kind of a searing commentary on war and kind of the after effects of war. I mean, there's a million songs about war and post-war, but this is our take on it, and it just felt really appropriate, kind of as we were going into the pandemic and getting locked down and in the bunker. and all the nonsense we were seeing on TV. And then when we were putting this album together in January, at the very beginning of January, the things we were seeing on TV, like with the riot and the Capitol and stuff, we're like, man, this song is even more appropriate for now. And we actually put out our Dominate single, and we decided to do a cover of Populi Itself, Ich bin ein Ausländer at that time, because that song came out in like 92, and it's still relevant today, like the stuff that they're talking about in there. And when we saw that stuff going on in January, we're like, all right, let's put this song on as the first single for the new album, but let's put this single out, because, it's just, some people say it's too political, but we say, hey, we're just singing about the things we're thinking about and the things we talk about. So we're excited about this one. We got some killer remixes on it that from some of the folks that we've wanted to work with on past stuff that we just didn't find the right tracks. And we're doing, we're hoping to do more with some of them. So I think people are going to like it. There's a little bit of something for everybody. It likes EBM to goth to pure industrial to, just some experimental stuff too from Maryland, which is awesome. And also the Maryland mix is kind of a preview of what the next album is going to sound like. Very edgy electronic style.
Awesome. You have some music videos in the making? Yeah,
we're recording one this weekend. We're going to have it come out around the album release. So we're going to put that out, and then we'll have a whole bunch of videos and media that we put together over the last 3 to 6 months that are going to come out. So everything will have some kind of electronic media video format with it. People that see the shows, starting this weekend and going forward, we'll see all of the kind of imagery that goes with it. So we have some really cool dark nun stuff that we created for this, really cool 3D artists that did some stuff for us. So everything's brand new. We did a really cool black skull with gold teeth. You're going to see everywhere on the new t-shirts and everything. It's going to just be predominant. It's going to be pretty dominant everywhere. So that'll be kind of the theme, dark nuns and skulls, pretty straightforward, but we think it looks pretty cool. Awesome. There's a skull right there. That's not the skull.
And I want to ask, how do you balance your time with everything you have going on in your life with making the music, the album, and everything?
It's you want to say yes to everything, and I tend to say yes to everything, and then I regret it later. But then when I get things done, like we have an Angel Spit remix that just came out this weekend, and this is something we'd wanted to work on for a long time, and we've been talking to Angel Spit about doing a number of different things together. So we're hoping to have some other stuff come out. But the remix that we just did for his new album that's coming out as well around the same time is one of my favorite remixes. It's just like it's the sound that we've been experimenting with for the next Bunker Tapes album. So it's like super heavy, distorted 808s. I got that in almost every album, but the next album is going to have a lot of that. And so we were able to kind of do this like kind of crossover kind of sound that takes his cyberpunk, our industrial, and then adds in some EDM dubstep elements with some just crunchy 808 nonsense and mayhem. So that's another thing we got coming out. And then we got some other remixes we can't talk about yet for some big name artists that are coming out. So it's just constantly doing something every day, working on something, and then trying to, make sure we stay focused on all the things we need to do for the album too. So we got everything ready for the album, and now it's just releasing it and doing the live shows to support it for the next 2 months.
Sounds like you got things in the near future planned out pretty well with what you're doing.
Well, it seems like it, and then COVID that's that all up. So you got to be willing to be flexible.
Album-wise, of your music, like you think,
yeah.
Number 2 is not even out yet, and you're already Bunker Tapes number 3.
Yeah, and we're over halfway done with that one. So everything's written. It's not all mixed yet, but we even got remixes in for that one. So yeah, we're working hard on that one already. Got the artwork done for it already. Also, maybe we'll do a video for it and like not release it for a year. Who knows?
And I bet with everything going on in the world, you're constantly inspired.
Yeah, there's always something. If you don't have something to sing about, you just got to turn on the TV and they'll get pissed off in 5 minutes and have something to sing about. It doesn't take much. Yeah, in fact, I got to turn all that stuff off, or else it just weighs too heavy. Sometimes you get distracted and don't want to do anything.
I agree. Yeah, it becomes too much. Like I even try and avoid news a lot of times now, just because, like you said, it just becomes too much.
Yeah, it does. It gets you start thinking too much about it, and it's something you just need enough to inspire you to to go be creative. That's all I need, just a little bit of it.
Well, I look forward to the upcoming album, and it was great having you and talking with you. And everybody, look him up.
Thanks, Michael, and congratulations on the show. It keeps growing and growing.
Thank you. It's great to have you back. You're a fan favorite. Great talking with you, and always enjoy listening to your music.
Thanks, brother.
And for everyone watching, I've linked his music in the video description, so check that out. So I've had a big channel supporter ask me if I would play this game with artists called Would You Rather, so want to give it a crack?
Is this supporter writing the questions too, or just wants to see what you
No, I made the questions up. They were just like, it'd be cool to do this. And I was like, all right, I'll try something fun.
All right, sounds good. Go for it.
All right, cool. So would you rather make a rap song or country song?
I'd rather make a rap song, and I just remixed 2 rap songs. One is "Sweetie Best Friend," which is like 100 million downloads on it. So we'll see if that bootleg goes somewhere. But I like the simplicity of the rap songs. It reminds me a lot of EBM music.
Wow, that's really cool that you actually just did that.
Yep, 2 of them. Got 2 of them right now. Another one's for Nada 5150, House of the Dead. Small group, not a lot of people heard about outside California.
Wow. All right. Would you rather play every day live 365 days, or would you rather not play at all for your live?
I'd probably not rather play every single day. I'd probably rather wait a year to play. I think I would appreciate it more. I think after 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe a month playing every day, I'd probably be regretting the decision to play every day for a year.
Would you rather live on the East Coast or West Coast?
Well, I don't live on either one right now, but I grew up on the West Coast, so I know the West Coast very well, and I like being in LA and growing up in LA area, but I like visiting the East Coast, so I would probably, like if I moved somewhere now, I would probably move to another country. I don't know which coast though.
All right. Would you rather travel into the future or into the past?
Oh man, both. I think the past has more. I have more questions about the past. I'm like a junkie. Like I get down these rabbit holes on YouTube and the internet on like how old are the pyramids? Who built the pyramids? Because the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids, and they didn't build the Sphinx. They don't even have records of ever. All their records say that it was there before they got there. And I want to know, how old is that? Is that really 5,000 or is it 50,000? And then why do they keep finding things that are 1 million years old that shouldn't be around? I want to go back in the past and see if there was other civilizations that got wiped out before we were around.
Would you rather headline your own concert or open up for a bigger band at a big festival?
I would say open up for a bigger band at a big festival, because it's about getting new ears and new eyeballs, and I want to get the music out to as many people as possible, and I think that would be a better way to do it. And it would be fun. It's always fun to play with other bands you like too. And even last week when I played with Circle Burn, then they asked if I could play keyboards for them because their keyboard player wasn't able to play. So maybe I get to play keyboard for that bigger band if I showed up.